Okay, John and Peter have 240 cards all together. If Peter gives one out of nine of the cards to John, and John in turn gives one quarter of his cards to Peter, they will have the same number of cards. How many cards does Peter have? Alright, so this question is slightly different from question one. It may look similar, okay, but there's some differences to this, alright, in the way that this involves internal transfer. Okay, whereas just now concept one in our same lesson, week 8, is involving the external transfer. Now, and most importantly, we have to be clear of this. The internal transfers here, there are two internal transfers, Peter giving to John and John giving to Peter. Now, do these two internal transfers happen at the same time? Or do they happen one after another? So I hope by reading the second sentence, you are able to tell that it's happening one after another. All right, it's not happening at the same time because Peter gives to John first, and then John later in turn gives one quarter back to Peter. So this new 4 units from John, already includes the cards that he received from his friend. Okay, so we have to be clear about this first. All right, now and moving forward, what should we think of? So remember in the internal transfer question, there is something that stays the same throughout. It will be your total. So total stays the same throughout the whole thing. Okay, and you notice that the total in this case, luckily they already gave to us, which is a very good clue or say like a very helpful information to help us solve this question. Okay, and also in the end, they have the same number of cards. This is again another very useful information because why? I can find out in the end each person has how many cards and I can prepare the work backwards later to find how many each of them have. Okay, so we are going to use like the before change after method. Now, however, I wouldn't really use like the BCA method in this case because it is internal transfer and you have two internal transfers happening. Hence, the BCA method will be very difficult for you to figure out a common base also. Okay, so I'll show you this method, which I call it like the flow charts method because it looks like a flow chart, basically. Right? So this is how we record down the data. One row for J, one row for P. Now, at the beginning, I do not know how many cards do each of them have. So I'll just draw empty boxes. This is for you to fill up later. So just make sure it's big enough. Okay. Now, let's start with the change. Peter gives 1/9 to John. Okay, so I draw the arrow for Peter. Now, he gives 1/9, so minus 1/9 P. So for this kind of question, I would avoid using ratio. All right, so based on all these uh, key phrases that I teach you how to identify, in this case, using the flowchart method do not require ratio because if you use ratio, like I say, it will be difficult for you to figure out the common base anyway, since it involves two internal transfers happening one after another. Okay, so Peter give away 1/9, so I put minus 1/9 P, and this is given to John. Okay, now John is the one receiving, so it will be plus 1/9 P. Why I still put P? Because this 1/9 of stickers, sorry, 1/9 of cards came from me, belongs to Peter. Okay, this one is from Peter's share, so it's still a P behind. New boxes for you to fill up later. Now, and we can go on to do the second change. This time is John give a quarter. So John minus 1/4 J, because it's from him. And this will be given to Peter. So this will be a plus 1/4 J. Again, I put J, but this one is the same fraction, same alphabet, because it still belongs to the same guy who has given away. And in the end, it's the same number of cards. Right? So this is in the end. But like I said just now, throughout this whole thing, there is something that stays the same throughout, which is our total of 250. Which means that in this situation, in this situation, in this situation, your total will always be a 240 card. So you see, we can record that down. All right. And from here, we can now go and figure out these two boxes because in the end, everyone has the same number of cards. So let's figure this out first. So to find each of these two boxes, of course, 240 divided by 2. And you can fill in those two with 120, 102. Okay, now let's prepare to work backwards. Now, but who should I use to work backwards? Should I use this one, the top one? Right, so this is important. Now, how do I know which one to use to work backwards? You gotta think about this. So let's say if I use Peter, okay, I do not know how many cards did Peter have here. And this 1/4 J, like I said, this is from John's share. This 1/4 J, I also have no idea what's the value of this. Okay, which means that in the end, this 120 here, I would not have any idea what fraction this represent. Okay, I want to work with fractions because the fractions gives me a push to working with units later. Okay, so like I was saying, this I do not know what's the fraction in the end. Now, however, if I use the top guy, John, okay, John, he gave away 1/4. 1/4 meaning to say that this box will be treated as 4 out of 4. Okay, I repeat, this will be treated as 4 out of 4 because if he's going to give 1/4 of his share here, this obviously will be treated as the whole 4 units. Now, I don't care what is like before in front in the first scenario. I just know that, okay, this will now be treated as new 4 units. All right, so out of 4 units, he gave away a quarter, he gave away 1 unit, which means that whatever in the end he has now will be 3 units. All right, so you see, now I know that, okay, this will be 3 out of 4 J, 3 units, but we put like 3 out of 4 in terms of fraction. Okay, so the idea is this. We always work backwards using the guy who just gave away his cards. If in this situation, John is the one giving away, you use John to work backwards. Okay, so later you can do the same for the second round here. All right, so let's work with this first. So 3/4 J represents 120. We can write it down like that. And of course, my next step is to find 1/4. I mean, this is just your fractional equation that you are familiar with. Okay, so 3 units is 120. So I want to find 1 unit of John, which is just divided by 3. Now, and I would like to find this value here first because I'm using John to work backwards. So this value here will be 4 out of 4, which is 40 times 4. Okay, so this is 160. Now with this 160, I can now go on to find this guy here. Okay, so to find this guy, you don't have to go and work backwards or whatsoever. Of course you can, because now you know 1/4 J is 40, you know this value is 40. Of course you can go and work backwards using that. However, another way is just using the total here, 240, correct? So this and this add up to 240. So to find this box, just do the subtraction. So this will be 80 cards. All right. Okay, now we can go on to do the next round of working backwards. So who should we use? Should we use the top guy or the bottom one? So remember just like I said, we use the one who just gave away cards, which is Peter. See, Peter is the one who gave away. So use Peter. So I will treat this as 9 out of 9, right? Because he gave away 1 out of 9 means he has 9 units here. Which means that this 80 will be 8 out of 9 of Peter's cards. All right, please put your J's and P's because this fraction, you have to be clear it belongs to which guy. Otherwise, mistakes along the way, you'll be confused as to where to put back. Okay, the numbers put back to J or P. All right, so please note all this down. So 8 of 9 Peter is 80 cards. And of course, I will proceed to find 1 unit, 1 out of 9. Okay, so 80 divided by 8. And of course, to find here, this box will be 9 out of 9. Okay, so 10 times 9, 90. And there you go, you have 90 here. Now, if you read the question, they want how many cards does Peter have? Okay, all these are if questions. This is an if. So if they want Peter, means they want at the original, his original number of cards. If means they did already happen. Okay, so that means we want Peter original cards, and that's it. You have your 90 cards. If they ask how many cards does John have, then of course you go on to do one more step, 240 minus 90 to get this box here. Okay,